Thank you to our sponsors: Butler Machinery, North Dakota Corn Council, North Dakota Soybean Council, Bremer Bank, Peterson Farm Seed, Crary Ag, and Farmers Mutual of Nebraska.
Our AgWeek corn and soybean tour continues this week. I traveled to Richland County, North Dakota, and visited with Jade Albright, Peterson Farm Seed sales agronomist, to take a look at the corn crop. Jade, tell me about the cornfield we have standing behind us.
Yeah, so this field here, we're on some extremely sandy soils here, and single-digit CECs, and we just manage moisture here a little differently than we do the rest of the area. So we no-tilled the corn May 15th here, variable rated the population everywhere from 17 to 32,000, depending where we're at. We're out here. And then we put our earliest drought guard hybrid on this piece too, just to kind of handle moisture a little bit better.
As we head into harvest months, are you worried about moisture content?
Yeah, especially you go further south into Richland County. There's, like I said, this field here is probably sitting around 8 inches. There's guys that have had a little bit more. There's definitely guys that have had less. Some guys, they planted and then had 1.5 inches of rainfall till tassel time. So we're starting to see a lot of stock cannibalization, a lot of corn starting to burn up. We've had issues, been in some corn that the butts didn't pollinate, tips didn't pollinate, they're pulling back, they're aborting kernels.
Any disease or pest pressures you guys have been seeing?
Yep, yeah, especially the further south you go, rootworm's starting to become a problem down there. A lot of northern rootworm they're chewing roots all year, and some corn starting to lodge. Disease-wise, there's some gosses wilt showing up on some corn on corn acres. And like I said, yeah, some stalk rots are starting to show up, some anthracnose and issues like that. We'll see here going forward in the next couple weeks.
What are your harvest projections? When do you think you'll get the combines rolling in this field, and what are your yield projections?
And I wouldn't be surprised if there's some corn coming off before soybeans, but probably first, second week in October we could see some corn coming. There'll be spots out here that are, 200 bushel, but there'll also be spots that are 100, and kind of the same thing. You go south, it's really variable. It'll be all over the board, and it just kind of depends on which guy fell under the right rain cloud at the right time.
Well, harvest season will be here before we know it. Thank you for joining us, Jade.
Thank you.
Jade Albright. Our corn and soybean tour now takes us to Northwest Iowa. After a rough start to the growing season for Iowa's corn and soybean crops and spotty showers throughout the summer, crops are starting to be stressed.
Disease and pest pressure are starting to affect the soybeans and corn around Lamar's, Iowa.
Now we're really starting to see it out in our soybeans and a little bit in our corn as well. Mostly I'm seeing it in our soybeans right now. We're seeing some white mold, a lot of brown stem rot, even some phytophthora in areas, and wasn't there the times that we were out there spraying insecticide and fungicide, but it's definitely out there now.
Pests have also proven to be a problem this year. Grasshoppers have been a big issue, but there are also pests that many producers might not be aware of.
One really big one right now in Northwest Iowa is soybean gall midge, and a lot of growers might have it out in their fields but not know. So it can look a lot like a disease out in a field. We have brown spots usually along the field edges, but not always, and they're starting to droop and wilt and die, and sometimes it is the soybean gall midge.
For some producers in the area, the crops are already starting to come out of the fields.
We already have some growers in Northwest Iowa that are out chopping silage, so field work has begun, but just like last growing season, I think harvest will start a lot sooner this year, just because these crops are running out of moisture and beginning to dry.
Ted Nepal encourages all growers to get out in their fields and scout, even as we get toward the end of the growing year. Thanks for watching AgweekTV on YouTube. Make sure to like and subscribe. We put out new videos every Saturday.